Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Yes, you see the flashing lights. Well, it's Christmas, so why not? But I thought I'd change it up a little bit and it's been some time since I haven't done this. I've done swatching of inks as part of my weekly recap, where I always show you some of my ink hauls. But I figured I got a bunch of Hongdian inks, and I'm just falling in love with these inks, and I just keep discovering one color after another. So you know what? I went out and bought them all. I think I've got them all here. Unless I'm missing some, you'll let me know, because if I'm missing any of them, I'll get them for you. I thought we'd do some swatching. I thought we'd have some fun. We get our hands dirty, full of ink. We kind of look at some of those colors. It reminds me of Christmas. I've got blues, I've got greens, I've got blacks, I've got grays, I've got sort of an orange, I've got a brown. So, we've got them all the colors. Let's have some fun. Let's do some swatching. Here are the Hongdian Inks. Okay, so we're back. Here are all the inks. I thought I'd give you a bird's eye view of what we're in store for. At the top line, I've got red, we got purplish red, we got coral, we got burly wood, we got brown. Middle row, we've got purple, peacock blue, which to date is my favorite. We got blue, we got sky blue, and we got teal. Bottom portion, we got black, blackish green. That's an interesting concept. Gray, and I got bluish gray. Again, I'm really curious to see what that gives. So those are, how many we got? We got 14 inks, 5, 10, 14 inks. We'll do some swatching, and we'll take it from there. Now, what are going to be the tools I'm going to be using? Well, 2 tools. I'll show you the paper in a minute. First of all, I like to use, for those of you who have not first time joining me, I like to use this, what is referred to as a folded pen. And I dip that and I, do my swatches with this. I prefer this over a Q-tip or a brush, because I don't feel the Q-tip and the brush emulate as much the, an actual metal nib as this does. And then I've got my glass pen here with just a nib inserted that I can easily wash out and proceed to the next one. I bought this one, by the way, in Italy. I believe it was in Florence or Rome, I forget now. So nice dip pen. So those are the two. I've got 2, bit of water in 2 glasses, and I'll show you the paper in a minute, and we'll go ahead. So let me clean all this up, show you the paper we're going to do this on, and then get to work. Okay, so I'm back. I'm all set up. I've got my water here. Got some of my dirty towels to kind of wipe out those nibs as I go through them. And here's the paper. For those of you, again, who haven't watched my channel, I use Tomoe River paper, first of all, in this notebooks. And there, you can find them on Etsy. And they're by a company by the name of Good Ink Pressions. And they're specifically made for swatching of inks. So as you can see, you swatch your ink here, you put the brand name, the name of the ink, and you can even add the date that you purchased the ink. Now, I like to typically only swatch one side because it does kind of bleed through. So I've got my Scotches. Now, on the right side. Now, what do I have? Well, just 1 second. Just to show you how I do it, is that I got different colors. There's no red per se, so this kind of purplish red serves for the red inks and the purple. This is for the green inks. This is for the blue inks. This is for the orange, and this is for the brown. It's kind of a brownish tint. So I got basically one book for each color, or, you know, almost. And that's it. I swatch my inks all in there. So if I want a blue ink, take out my blue book, they're all there. Okay? So we'll start with the red first, because I'm going to start with the red inks first. And as you can see, I have purple at one end and red on the other. So we'll start with the red inks right here, and we'll see what that gives. Okay. Put my nibs here. What we'll do is that we will just focus a little more so you can get a closer look at all this. Okay, so the first one we'll swatch is the red one. And what I mean by red, there's a few reds, but it's called, the name is red. None of these inks appear to be shimmering inks, which is a good thing. These days I'm staying away from shimmering inks. So let me just do this. And we'll go through one, and then we'll use kind of fast motion for some of the others. So this is the Hongdian red. And we will put December 2024 as a date. There you go. That's the red. And then, of course, we'll come back to all of these once they dry up, just to see what kind of an effect they give us. From what I can tell from the blues that I've been using now for a while, they're pretty saturated inks. Got an excellent flow. They don't have a tendency to be dry inks, so let's hope for the best. So this one here is referred to as coral. Now I've put it in the red. Typically I would sometimes repeat the same swatch in the red and in the orange, because sometimes it's kind of like in between. Okay, so this is the Hongdian. And it's referred to as coral. So typically, I mean, I'm going to wait for it to dry, but this one I would probably swatch in red and in orange, so I have them both there, because it is a coral, so it's kind of supposed to be kind of in between sort of thing. So that's that. Next, purplish red. Oh, I've used this one in a pen. It has a tendency to look a little bit like ox blood, but we'll do some comparisons later. See, this is it is a purplish red, but much darker. So this is the and typically I use a much wider or a bigger kind of a, even more than a stub, just so that I can get a thicker line, just to see what kind of an effect I can potentially have with an actual pen. Okay, so that's purplish red. The next one I'm not sure it's going to fit here, but I'm going to do it. So typically this is referred to as burly wood. This could be an orange, it could be a red, it could be a brown. And if I see that it's anything that resembles all three, well, then I typically would swatch them in all three. Okay, so now we need more. Need to get down there. So the next one. As you can see, it is kind of an orangey, so, you know, typically I would want to put this in orange as well. I can see this ink having a chromatic look, you know, where lots of shading, which could be a very interesting ink. I'm not sure about daily use, but it could have some potential. So I think that's about it for the reds. I don't believe that I'm going to add the brown. I think brown will be brown and the purple will be purple. So those are the reds. We're going to get them all to dry up and we'll take a look at them once they've done their trick. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back with the reds that are nice and dry. So pretty standard wet inks. I don't see any major sheen there, some shading. Well, most red inks you'll have shading unless you get a powerful ink like some of the Dieman reds, which will give you a little bit of a black sheen. I really like this purplish red, and I can tell you that in a pen it comes out a lot darker than that. But there you have the Hongdian reds, if you will. It just occurred to me, before we move on to the other colors, is that perhaps I show you a comparison between these inks on Tomoe River, and this is the same inks, but this is Midori paper. Sometimes Midori paper has a tendency to be a little more, shows up the inks a little bit better, and you can see some differences. The coral, the red, and the purplish red, all of them, and frankly, are a lot more intense and a lot more, much brighter, if you will, on the Midori. So those are the red colors, but still some very nice standard inks, very useful. So that's the red. Okay, so let's start with black. Yeah, this is in I've got a gray notebook, which is going to be my black, and where I have my black and my grays. So this is black. Curious to see how black it is. Oh yeah, looks like a nice black. So, whoa. I'll tell you folks, that black's got some potential. And you can feel how saturated this ink is and how wet it is, smooth. So I don't think I'm going to have a problem with dry ink here. At least that's not been my experience so far. The next one is an ink called Blackish Green. So this one, typically, I may want it also include in my green inks, but for the sake of this, Yeah, look at that. It's a black with kind of a blue black. I don't see the green, I gotta tell you, but maybe when it dries up, it'll stick out, or it'll kind of put some more emphasis on the green. But for the time being, it really looks like more of a blue black. Very nice. I like that color. I can think of some pens where I'm going to put this one in. Next one is gray. There we go. It's drying up nicely and turning into gray as it dries. Then I've got something by the name of bluish gray, which is, I'm wondering if there's going to be any difference. Yeah, this one's a little more blue. I can tell from the bottle. Yeah, this is a much darker. This is a, I would say, more of a blue-black, but I think they say gray because the shading will make it a little lighter. And this typically I would include in my blue swatch. Oh, I'm sorry, and my blue swatch as well, because it is more of a blue than it is a gray. So, you know, I would put it, I would repeat the swatch in the different colors. So there you have it. Those are the four kind of black gray tones. We'll let those dry up and we'll be right back. Now, let's look at the gray blacks. Those are the gray blacks. You could see some red, some sheen there. A little bit of red sheen on the blackish green. It's not green at all to me. That's more blue. But gray is very nice. A little bit of sheen there, but not much. And then you have the bluish gray, which is a really nice color. Very, very nice. Very similar, but different, these two. Now, let's take a look at what Midori gives. See, Midori's kind of different look, all very, very different look. Look at the blackish green. I mean, completely different on the Midori. A lot more sheen on the black, and it kind of shades brown. The gray is also much darker on the Midori paper. And you can see the red sheen on the Midori paper, whereas very little sheen on the Tomoe River. So there you have the, you can take a screenshot there if you're interested. So there you have the gray blacks. Okay, so we're back with the blues. First one is my favorite, peacock blue. Nice turquoise. Very, very nice. that's peacock blue. Next is, oh, that's a tight one. Tight, tight, tight. Okay. Sky blue. This is brand new. I've never tried this one before. Did try the blue that we'll see in a minute, but not the sky blue. Wow. Isn't that interesting? Very nice. Here we go. That's sky blue. Very nice. Oh, I just messed it up. Sorry about that. Ah, I knew that would happen. Just like my friend Hemingway Jones. He says he messes it all up. So do I. I don't know how I get the ink on my fingers, but I do. Okay, so this is what's termed blue. Interesting color. Kind of more of a royal blue shade there. Sorry about that. Messed it up. Okay, the next one, I see typically this is what's referred to as teal. So I would probably add this to the green swatch as well. We'll see how teal it is. Yeah, okay, it's got a bit of teal, but I mean, to each their own, right? More of a green to me, but given that they do call it teal, and we'll see what it looks like when it dries, but it looks like green to me. Okay, so those are the 4 blue candidates, if you will. Right? Isn't that nice? We'll see how all those dry up and we'll be back. Okay, here are the blues along with the teal. So definitely you could see the red sheen with the Midori. So there is sheen in these inks. It's just the Tomoe River is not bringing it out as much as the Midori. On the Midori, take a look at this peacock blue. I mean, really nice sheen there. Really nice red sheen on the sky blue. Very little on the Tomoe River. And again, some kind of gold brown sheen on the Midori for the blue. And the so-called teal, well, you can see the red sheen. You can see a little bit here, but much more. And of course, these samples vary depending on how thick you lay down the sample to begin with. So, you know, I could take different swatches, same paper, and they may look a little bit different. But I think you get the general idea. The Midori will give you a lot more sheen, a lot darker, more pronounced color. And it's also, you also notice the Midori is kind of on the beige side here, the paper, as opposed to a white ivory for the Tomoe River. It's not a bright white, but certainly whiter than the Midori. But there you have it. So you've got a look at these inks on Tomoe River and on Midori. Now we're going to include purple in this part of the swatch book, where all my purple inks are, because it's there's only one purple shade in these inks. Oh, that's a nice purple. Yeah. Whoop. There you have it. So that's purple. I have purple, the Hongdian purple. Here it is. And when we compare it to the purple of the Midori, I don't know if you could see this on camera, but there you have it. You see the sheen? So the Midori has some sheen. Very little sheen appears here on the Tomo River. There is definitely shading, so you get different shades of purple, from almost like a dark black to a lighter. But with the Midori, you get to see the added sheen, which is nice. So there you have that's the purple. Okay, so we're back with my brown swatching book. And we'll be adding them here. Actually, you know, why don't I? No, I'll be added here because I just have one. So this is it. Got to tell you, I don't know how brownish this is going to be, but we'll see in a minute. No, it's going to be a nice brown, I think. Just the color on the packaging is not indicative. Okay, so I got a very dark brown, I can see. So this is that's it for the brown. I'll put that aside. Looks like it's going to be a very nice dark coffee brown. But we'll let that dry up and we'll see what gives. So here you go. This is the brown on the very dark brown, almost on black. So it's black brown, if you will. A little bit of a reddish tint, but not much. With the Midori, you have a little more. You have little bit of sheen. The brown looks browner here. In fact, almost on the green gold sheen, whereas on the Tomo River, there's kind of a reddish tint to it, or a purplish tint to it. So there you have brown. So there you have it, folks. Change that up a little bit. Eh? We're going to get some paper reviews done for you sometime soon, especially during the holidays. I plan to take a look at all the paper that I bought in 2024 and do a part 3 comprehensive review of all fountain pen friendly paper. I have part 1, part 2. I think I've got another like 50 products to kind of put out there for people. So we'll do the paper review as well. But that was the ink review. Well, you know, change it up a little bit. At one point I was doing them regularly, and then I stopped because of the recap, where I would kind of swatch during the recap. But I figured these Hongdian inks look really, 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 really delicious. It's Christmas, lights, lots of color, my flashing lights behind me. So you know what? I hope you enjoyed that. And take a look at them. They're, what, $14, $15 Canadian on Amazon. So in US, a lot cheaper than that. It's got 60 milliliters, nice bottles, good performing inks. Nothing fancy, but you know what? Sometimes we need those standard inks. Take care, folks. Enjoy.